So today I'm going to teach you how to make this really pretty Bible journaling page with John 14:27. It's important as we go through this that you remember that every page looks different and yours does not have to look exactly like mine. So get all your supplies together and get ready because here we go. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our plastic piece and we're going to get our paintbrush and we're going to get it wet. This can be a Ziploc bag. This can be part of a Target bag. This can be some saran wrap, anything that's plastic. And you're going to want to make sure that you put plenty of water on it. If you don't put enough water, the paint's not going to be able to spread like you're going to want it to. So make sure you get that thing really, really wet. So after you get your plastic really wet, you're going to choose whatever colors you want to put on it and you're going to paint them on. You're just going to put them in different areas, random. There's no really rhyme or reason, just wherever you're going to put them. I chose blues and greens and purples because to me those are peaceful colors and this verse is about peace, and so that's kind of why I went with that color scheme. You can go with whatever color scheme you want to. This is your individual paper. It does not have to look like mine. So after you have your plastic kind of painted the way you want it to, you're going to get your paper that you're going to place this on and make sure that you put another sheet underneath so that it prevents bleed through, it doesn't go everywhere, it doesn't get on the sides of your notebook, things of that nature. So you're going to get this all loaded up and ready to go, and what you're going to do is you're going to flip it face down onto the plastic. So once you've got it flipped down there, you're going to squish it a little and then you're going to flip it back over. And you see that there's some little white spots. I'm going to just take my finger and smear that paint around. Now you don't have to do this. It's completely up to you. I just wanted mine as kind of filled in as possible. Once you're done, you're just going to peel off your plastic and that is your background. Super easy and simple. For the sake of getting through this video quickly, I'm going to dry mine off a little bit with a paper towel. I really suggest if you're doing this at home to just wait for it to kind of dry on its own. Your rows and everything else you're going to put underneath or on the paper will look so much better if you let it kind of dry naturally. Now I'm going to show you how to make the rows. First thing you're going to do is you're going to make 2 C's or half circles. You're going to put the first one down, and that's going to be the center of your rose. And the next one, you're going to start in the middle of that opening and make it a little bit bigger, kind of go towards the end. You really want to make the center of the circles thicker than the beginnings. So you see how the beginning of the rose opens kind of left to right is where those half circles open. The next layer is going to open top to bottom. So we're just going to put the beginning of that half circle kind of in the center, and then we're going to end it in the center of the other one. And we're going to remember to make the middle a little bit thicker. And it's okay if you feel like it looks silly right now. It will get better, I promise. So same thing we're going to do with the next layer is we're just going to make it open in the opposite direction of that first, really focusing on making the center of that petal thicker than the beginning and the end. So same for the next layer. We just ended with our up and down. Now we're going back to right and left. So same thing, kind of start in the middle, make your center thicker. There's really no right or wrong. It's kind of abstract, and it's okay if you feel like you're not doing great. Just keep practicing. So here I'm going to kind of end my rose by just attaching those two last petals together and kind of make it a full circle. Now we're going to add our petals. I really wanted a darker green, so here I am spending a ridiculous amount of time making my green darker. And so basically your petal shapes are just typical petal shapes to kind of fit the same theme that the rose has with the blank spaces. I left some blank space in the middle of my petal, but once again, this is totally optional. Whatever you do, it'll be beautiful no matter what. So now we're moving on to lettering. So you are more than welcome to do the lettering however you want. I'm going to kind of demonstrate a little faux calligraphy and kind of like really tall, basic letters. And so what's really cool about this verse in John is that Jesus is sitting there with his disciples. This is kind of what we call the Last Supper, right before he goes to be crucified. And he has just told them all kinds of really troubling things. He's predicted his own death. He's gone through and he's told about how Peter is going to deny him. He's washed his disciples' feet, and he tells them these really hard-hitting truths. And then in the middle of John, he says, "Peace I leave with you." So he's telling them that even though these things will happen and they will be hard and they will be difficult to get through, to overcome, my peace is with you at all times. And I think that's really relevant for us today because of the turmoil that we may be feeling, the upheaval that we have in our lives because of this coronavirus. And it may feel chaotic, but remember, we as believers have Jesus' peace as well. So to make my verse stand out a little bit, I'm going to use the letters that came in my package, and I'm just going to cut out the letters that correspond with the word John, and I'm just going to glue those on there. It kind of gives a little bit like a fun, eclectic look, multimedia, and it just looks fun to me. And so I'm going to do that. You don't have to. You can write it on there. You can put it in print, cursive, whatever you want, because this is yours. So one of the last things I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in those blank spots on the rose. So I'm going to get my red that I used for the rose, and I'm going to mix it with that orange to make a really soft coral. And I'm going to fill in the rose because I think it kind of makes it pop, almost give it like a 3D effect. This is totally optional, you don't have to. And then I'm just going to fill in those spaces. Now I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to kind of draw a swirl in the middle of my rose. I think it kind of helps make it pop a little bit. It gives that extra dimension that we talked about earlier. If I were you, I'd wait till it dries completely. I did not, but that's okay. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to make my downward strokes on my cursive word piece thicker because that's going to give it a faux calligraphy look. And that's it. Now you're done.